We remain standing for Great Fair Anthem.
Another great effect is a counterfeit.
Great Fair. No more anthems. Sit down. Your Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented here. Your Excellency, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Bulgaria, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, the Vice Chancellor of a prestigious university, Principal Officers of great institution of higher learning, distinguished members of Council, distinguished members of Senate of this university, my Lord, Spiritual and Temporal, Provost of Colleges and Deans of Faculties here, Heads of Department and Unit, my colleagues, the gentlemen of the press, specially invited guests to this occasion, great Ife students, ladies and gentlemen. Today, Friday, the 13th day in the month of December 2024, we have a very big fish in this university who, by the grace of God, is here to honor this country in us by coming to deliver the Convocation Lecture for the 48th edition of the Convocation of Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife. Permit me, therefore, to obey the dictates of protocol as I appreciate and introduce for proper recognition very important personalities who are here present. I would like to start Chairman Ceremonial, please come. Just like I said that we would like to obey the dictates of protocol as I do a few introduction and recognition. We have His Excellency, Nigeria, distinguished Senator KASHIM SHETTIMA MUSTAPHA GCON, ably represented here by Dr. Tope Fashua. And God knows I'm not taking that applause. Give it to him again. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Bulgaria in Abuja here, His Excellency Yanko Yudanov. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council is here, distinguished scholar in his own right, Professor Shiyan Oyeweso. Comfortably seated there with them is the 12th substantive vice chancellor of this prestigious university. A renowned professor of Greek economics, just like His Excellency the Vice President, Professor Adebayo Simeon Bamire. And of course, we have easygoing but workaholic registrar, Mr. Kamaldeen Adetoji Bakare. Your Excellencies here permit me to recognize other scholars here, together with members of council of this university. We have the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Bola Babalola. Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, Professor Yomi Daramola. Deputy Vice Chancellor Research, Innovation and Development, Professor Akinyemi Akoni. I have the university librarian here, Dr. Kemi Fadihan. Ladies and gentlemen, our Home Minister of Finance is here, the boss of the university, Mrs. Toyin Abogan. And of course, I have the representative of the Honorable Minister of Education here, Dr. Elu Karim. Where are you, sir? I have Honorable Wahab Owokunira. Please, I want us to be doing proper appreciation by putting our hands together for the standing round of applause for these people. And of course, Barrister Abago is also here. Let's give it to him loud and clear. Ambassador, His Excellency Ambassador E.A. Sarki. Alhaji Abubakar Kachala is also here. Professor Abiodun Ayoka is in the house. Professor Ito Bapalola, E.T. Bapalola. Professor Jimon Farinde here. Professor Duro Oyedele. Professor Julius Ayinde. Professor Adewale Ajao. Barrister Fred Aburu. And Abiodun Olarewaju. That's good. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I recognize the Provost of College here. Provost of Colleges, we have the Provost, State Convocation of our university, Professor Solomon Adekola. Ladies and gentlemen, to welcome us formally to this occasion today, I call on the Vice Chancellor, Professor Simeon Bamire. Adebayo Simeon Bamire, to be precise. In the evening of Friday, that is not the way to clap for your Vice Chancellor.
Thank you very much. Again, I want to welcome everyone in the name of God Almighty to this very occasion. The lecture, the Convocation Lecture, to be given by a special personality. And that's why this particular time was scheduled for that purpose. Your Excellency, the Vice President of this great nation, you are welcome, ably represented by the by our own. He's an alumnus too, Dr. Tokpe Pashwa. Thank you very much for finding time to be here. Your Excellency, the Ambassador of Bulgaria, Nigeria, our dear friend, we appreciate you. His Excellency, Yanko. Tanko. Thank you very much. Our dear Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your concern and interest in all ways. We always continue to appreciate you. The Registrar, thank you very much for being there for us there at all times. We appreciate you. The Deputy Vice Chancellors, Academic, Administration, Research, Innovation and Development. Thank you very much for all you've been doing all these days. Well, I think this is what we've been doing together and want to appreciate your efforts. Our council members, we want to thank you for being here with us. We want to thank you because you are like the torchlight that is providing opportunities for us to be well guided. And so we want to really appreciate you. The provosts, colleges, the deans of faculties, with the chairman committee of deans as the reference point. Thank you very, very much. We want to welcome all our guests from various areas invited for this lecture. We appreciate you and thank you for coming. Directors, heads of departments, all staff and students that are here, thank you very much for coming. This convocation lecture is part of the 48th convocation ceremony and is actually aimed at giving us what it takes to have an academic setting like OAU, and to give our students the opportunity to know what they are expected to meet in the world after leaving the estate of OAU. We know that some of the students will be coming back to OAU by God's grace, but for you to be able to really move around freely, we have an experienced and exposed vice president of this great nation that wants to expose you to an extent to the various challenges and goodies that you can find outside there. And so, again, I want to appreciate our vice president for your coming. I believe that you will enjoy everything that he says. And because I already know that reading through, glancing through, there are thoughts that are really that provokes one's thoughts, you know, to knowing what life is all about. So I want to thank you once again and implore you to listen attentively to what our dear Vice President has to say. Thank you very much and welcome.
Honestly, we can do much better for the Vice Chancellor. Just like I said, that the introduction will be done in phases. In the entourage of the representative of the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Distinguished Senator KASHIM SHETTIMA, GCON, Dr. Tope Fasua said I should recognize somebody who is here with him. His nickname is Othello. Professor Adebayo Ajisafe. Sir, you know that I said Othello. So some people are saying Othello because the students are here. Your Excellencies, please, I would also like to recognize Our Excellency, the First Lady of OAU, Dr. Bose Bamire. I'll call her, don't worry. We have Professor Benga Fashiku, Director, Institute of Cultural Study. And we have one of our academic elders here from the Department of Mathematics is here with his wife, Professor Okoya and Professor Mrs. Okoya. Professor Adisa Ogunfolaka is also in the house. Please, let's appreciate him. The Deputy Provost of the Postgraduate College is there, Professor Ilisami. Mr. Vice Chancellor, Your Excellencies, please permit me to recognize a former Dean of the Faculty of Art, Dean Emeritus, Professor Bemi Adeoti, GRA. I don't know how to interpret this one to His Excellency, the Bulgarian Ambassador to Nigeria, the Oluode of OAU. The Professor Roku Akefala. I decided not to call you a capitalist because of the crowd here. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to go straight to the point here because we are here fully to listen to convocation lecture of this university. May I humbly request that His Excellency be represented by Dr. Tokwe Fasua. Please stand, sir. Sir, with due respect, may I humbly ask you to step here. Please keep clapping and it's coming here. Yes, sir. Thank you very much for that applause. And that shows that he's in his university, his alma mater. Thank you very much, sir. You are standing tall. Standing tall. I like that. Professor Suyi Lawrence Faria, please come forward to read the citation.
All protocols duly observed. It is my pleasure to read this citation of His Excellency Senator KASHIM Shettima Mustapha, GCON, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Born September 2, 1966,
born September
in Maiduguri into the illustrious family of Alhaji Shettima Mustapha Kutaibe, the Shettima Kawoma Moroma of Borno, and Hajiya Nana Kujarima Shettima, a princess of the esteemed El Kanemi royal family. His Excellency Senator KASHIM Shettima is famously known for his courage as a performing wartime governor. The little Shettima attended Lamisula Primary School in Maiduguri from 1972 to 1978 and Government Secondary School, Biu, from 1978 to 1980. Shettima
and Government
obtained
Science
his
Secondary
BSc
School,
with honors
Potiskum,
in
from
agricultural
1980 to
economics from the University
1983.
of Maiduguri in 1980.
Shettima obtained his BSc with honors in agricultural economics
from the
University of Maiduguri in 1989,
after his
and his MSc in agricultural economics from the University of Ibadan in 1991
before he moved
after
into
his
the banking
NYSC
sector,
in
where
Calabar.
he rapidly rose to become
Shettima
a
worked
general manager.
as a
In
University of Maiduguri
2007,
lecturer.
Shettima was appointed by
Before he
Borno
moved
State
into the
Governor
banking
Alimodi
sector,
Sharif as
where he
Commissioner of
rapidly rose
Finance
to
and
become a
Economic
general manager.
Development. Shettima
In
later served in the
2007,
Ministries of Education,
Shettima was appointed
Agriculture,
by the then Borno
Health,
State
as well as
Governor,
local government and
Alimadu Sharif,
chieftaincy affairs.
as
In
Commissioner of Finance
2011,
and Economic
Shettima was
Development.
elected Governor of Borno State
Shettima later
and
served
re-elected in
in the Ministries of
2015.
Education,
As Governor,
Agriculture,
Kashim Shettima
Health,
formalized,
as well as
funded,
local government
trained
and
and equipped
chieftaincy
thousands of Borno youths under the
In
name
2011,
Civilian JTF,
Shettima was
who
elected
voluntarily
governor of
supported the
Borno
military
State
in
and
fighting Boko
re-elected
Haram.
in 2015.
Shettima also prioritized
governor,
Borno's
His
infrastructural
Excellency
development
Kashim
and the
Shettima
reconstruction of
formalized,
communities displaced
funded,
by Boko Haram.
trained,
To revolutionize
and equipped
education
thousands
and
of
promote
Borno
peace
youth
in Borno,
under the name
Shettima
Civilian
introduced the
JTF,
mega-sized school system,
voluntarily supported
targeting
the
orphans from
military in
insurgent
fighting Boko
attacks,
Haram.
the girl child, and
His
other
Excellency
vulnerable children,
Shettima
including the
also
Bororo
prioritized
Fulani.
Borno's infrastructural development and the reconstruction of communities
In
displaced by
2019,
Boko Haram.
Kashim Shettima selflessly
revolutionize
endorsed Professor
education
Babagana
and
Zulum
promote
to
peace in
emerge
Borno.
governor of Borno State.
Senator
A decision
Shettima
over which he has been
introduced the mega-sized school
vindicated,
system,
as all have
targeting
come to the
orphans
happy
from
conclusion
insurgent
that the choice of
attacks,
Professor Zulum
the
was
girl
in
child,
Borno's
and
best
other vulnerable
interest.
children,
A
including
man
the
with passion
Bororo
for table
Fulani.
tennis, reading, and oratorial
2019,
public speaking,
His
Shettima
Excellency
is
Kashim
happily
Shettima
married to Her Excellency
selflessly
Hajia Nana
endorsed Professor
Shettima and
Babagana
are blessed
Zulum
with 3 children.
to emerge
Before
governor
you
of Borno
is the
State,
incoming Vice
a position
President,
over which he
Federal
has been
Republic of
vindicated,
Nigeria,
as all have
selflessly
come to the
endorsed
happy
Professor
conclusion
Babagana
that
Zulum
the choice
to
of
emerge
Professor
Governor
Zulum
of Borno
was in the
State,
best
a
interest
decision
of Borno
over
State.
which he has been vindicated,
A man with
as
passion
all
for table
have
tennis,
come to the happy
reading,
conclusion
and
that the
oratorial
choice of
public
Professor
speaking.
Zulum was in Borno's
Shettima is
best
happily
interest.
married to Her
Of
Excellency
communities displaced by
Hajia
Boko
Nana
Haram,
Shettima,
to revive
and are
vulnerable
blessed with 3
children,
children.
including the Bororo Fulani.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before you is the Vice
In
President of the Federal
2019,
Republic of Nigeria,
Kashim Shettima
His Excellency
selflessly endorsed
Senator
Professor
Kashim
Babagana Zulum
Shettima,
to emerge
GCON.
Governor of Borno State, a decision
Thank you. Thank you very much for the introduction of my boss. So like they used to say those days, this is not my real face. You know, and that was very effusive as well. I'm here to read a speech, this convocation lecture today, to the graduating students especially of this very distinguished university. Let me commence by trying to stand on protocols already established, but I'll be remiss if I don't acknowledge the presence of the chairman and members of the governing council of this great university, the vice chancellor and DVCs here present. Also, very importantly, the ambassador of Bulgaria to Nigeria, a very tall, distinguished man there, registrars, also academic and non-academic staff here present, and also the students. I probably would like to say, Great Ife. Great Ife. Of the greatest Gbogbo. Of the greatest Gbagba. Of the greatest Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I am very delighted indeed to have accepted to deliver the convocation lecture at today's 48th convocation ceremony of this great institution of learning that has produced tens of thousands, indeed, of distinguished products for 71 years ago. I would have absolutely loved to be here physically present to admire the faces and demeanor of your fresh graduates proud parents and sponsors, as well as their teachers and administrators who have nurtured them over the past years to soak in the very intellectual environment that is OAU Ile-Ife, which many around the world refer to as Oba Awon universities. But for the exigencies of statecraft, which actually could send us anywhere in a jiffy, have I ever sent competent representation in the person of Dr. Tope Fasha, that's me, our special advisor to Mr. President on Economic Affairs in the office of the Vice President. Thank you. The university environment is a place where character is formed and where it matures for most people. Anyone who attends a university or higher institution and manages to complete their course of study should count themselves privileged. You should have known, you would have known by starting what you finish, that you possess a focused mind, that you don't walk away at the slightest sight of difficulty and complexity, that you can be trusted with tasks in the workplace. And if that university was once again Oba Awon University, OAU, you stand head and shoulders above more than 90% of similar graduates from most universities in the world. Obafemi Awolowo University has done Nigeria proud, it must be said. She is easily one of the best in Nigeria and Africa, and indeed the world. This university has produced thousands of world changers in every field in the arts and sciences and technology and what have you. The ambition of the founders of this university would easily be found in the fact that it possesses one of the best architectures among universities in Nigeria and Africa. OAU is not an afterthought, as it is well planned, well laid out, to inspire the quest for knowledge in an expansive environment with flora and fauna, with greenery and some of the best architectural artistry. It has since been so since inception, and we thank the successful management of this great institution for maintaining that dream and even taking it further. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am here today to speak directly and honestly to these starry-eyed graduates who have excelled, all of them, at different levels of qualification and are being celebrated today. Many have obtained their doctoral certifications. Some have obtained their master's degree, while others, perhaps the majority, are those fresh-faced, energetic youth who are now proud owners of fresh bachelors of science, arts, technology, and what have you. I'll be speaking to all generally. I will be sharing my own experiences with them, not forgetting that some of these graduates could even be more experienced than many of us who left the four walls of citadels of learning, such as this before some of the graduates were born decades ago. After all, we now live in a hypersonic, super frenetic age of nanotechnology, artificial intelligence, augmented reality, machine learning, and God knows what next is a trick that will be pulled on all of us in this age of information technology. This means that perhaps 18 is the new 40. Today's youths are getting matured much faster than those of us who went ahead. Whereas we grew up in the age where information had to be obtained a day after events occurred through newspapers sold at street corners, and there was basically 1 or 2 television channels in every state, which opened at 4 or 5 p.m. and closed around 11 p.m. Today's youth are even at great risk of suffering from information overload. What with the exposure to hundreds of channels on TV and a series of social media platforms where endless information streams on a per-second basis. Someone observed a while ago that a normal person today with a basic smartphone is now in possession of perhaps 5 to 10 times the amount of information that presidents of the United States had just a couple of decades ago. But with this information and privilege at your disposal comes great responsibility. What are you achieving with this information? What good is coming out of it for yourself, for your community, your country? Many of you are already content creators. This is one indication of how times have changed. We live in that age where anyone could become global. You can go global in a second. It depends on your creativity, your tenacity, and of course luck, or what we call the God factor. In our time, the most famous you could get operating out of a university campus was probably as a student union leader, activist, or a great sportsman. But today, we have seen a sea change. So, but are you creating content to position your country or your community better in the Committee of Nations? Or are you running everything down because you believe that bad news sells faster and better? Is it all about fast money, or is there something greater in the future which we must all work towards? I urge you that you find a broader view. The world is your oyster. You have the energy, the youth, the network, even if it was virtual. A little more time on your hands to be the very change you seek in society, in your country. You are, of course, more connected to this tech-driven world that I described above. So you must seek to change your world for the better. And there is Nigeria too, a beautiful, great country that needs you, and a country in which you could more easily fulfill your heart's desires, thrive, and achieve all those heretical needs of self-accomplishment, self-transcendence, that have been famously described by the great sociologists of old, from MacGregor to Maslow to Weber, and of course, not forgetting many great sages who have passed through as leaders of applied thought in this great university. And those who are here seated with us today, I've noticed there are quite a number of professors here with us today. There are too many to mention, but we must always acknowledge that we have some of the best here in Nigeria, who have also impacted positively and progressively on the development of bodies of knowledge globally. Dearest graduates of Obafemi Awolowo University, yes, you who are stepping out into the world today, you oughtn't be reminded about the different industrial revolutions which have happened in our world till date. There were moments when the tectonic plates of human productivity and human interaction were greatly enhanced with remarkable shift in geometric manner. These were the times that the world discovered new possibilities beyond what we had erstwhile imagined. The question I'm asking you today is whether you can be the next instigator and finisher and innovator of the next tectonic shift in civilization, in productivity, in knowledge, and human capability. Or perhaps we should first ask just how incorporated we are into the current happenings beyond being buyers of innovation. It is worthy to recall that a great number of innovators around the world are very young people like yourselves. You live in that particular epoch, the very band of privileged youth, where your creative juices are at peak, where your ability for risk-taking is enhanced, where the world is indeed your oyster. Don't be fazed. Do not be frazzled. Not even the usual rhetoric about how Nigeria is hard. Nigeria is a tough place because real opportunities are usually cloaked by that toughness. Difficulties most often disguises great advantages which only the valiant, the imaginative, the resilient, the positive, and sometimes the lucky can avail. Nigeria is a tough place because we are still a young country relatively, with so many things to do and achieve. Nigeria is a tough place because we need you, yes you, to make it easier through your intervention. It is important that we understand the historicity of nation building. Every person desires to live in developed nations where it seems that everything needed for human comfort is already achieved. But those countries paid several prices in sweat and blood, in human beings, in wars, in strife, in famine, in plagues, and whatnot to get to where they are today. Luckily, the ease of sharing information and the progress of science and technology and the better understanding of the arts and humanities have ensured that we may not have to pass the same trajectory as those nations. But we cannot take nation building and socioeconomic development for granted. It takes a lot more than wishful thinking. It often requires painful, deadly lessons and back-breaking work and deep thinking with a desire for strenuous contemplations and deep thinking and desire for strenuous contemplation for nations to develop, for infrastructure to exist aplenty, for life, to be easier for the majority. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and today's graduates, this is a lesson of history. This is what we have been able to surmise from a deep dive into the developmental trajectory of the greatest nation. In some instances, it takes 1,000 years or two for them to get to where they are today. This is a time. There is a time for everything. There is a time to grow. There is a time to reap. There is a time to be broke and pass through a hard time. And there is a time to live in abundance after one may have put in the work. For many of you young people listening to this today, you have passed through the university in very austere times. And some of you are still students, so you are still passing through the university in those very austere times. So this also goes to you, whether you're a student or you're a graduate. It is not easy for you even now. Finance is hard to come by. But I must remind you that the hunger inside you is a sine qua non to your achievement of great things. It is that fuel that is needed for you to explore, to take risks, to dare the world, to improve yourself, and to take on the world. You would have otherwise preferred to live in total ease today, but that takes away that burning desire that you need to pursue self-actualization, self-fulfillment, and self-transcendence, which means that time in the lives of men and women when they stop living for themselves, but for others and for nations. You want to stick around till you achieve that, and do not be tempted to follow the footsteps of young foes who decide to create a shortcut through fraud, diabolic practices, manipulation, theft, and robbery, kleptomania, to achieve results, quick results, which almost always never last. It may be tempting to join the Yahoo Plus or the Benefit Boys. Don't. The VP said I should tell you that in his language, Kanuri language. The first industrial revolution was powered by the steam engine. This marked a departure from the era where ships sailed with wind and paddles to a point where they sailed with engines. This extended the capability of these ships to be able to reach the furthest ends of the world. The British, French, and Spanish did the sailing and conquered many territories thereby. That industrial revolution led to the putting together of machinery that could produce en masse the goods that were desired all around the world. The first economic globalization had been born. The second industrial revolution happened around the year 1900. It was the discovery of electricity. Before then, homes were lighted with inefficient kerosene lamps. But electricity proved cheaper and much easier to deploy once you understood the science. At this same time, motor cars as we know them now today, they made their debut. First powered by electricity, but later by a waste product of kerosene production, premium motor spirit or petrol. The third industrial revolution was marked by the era of the internet. We never knew how badly we needed to communicate with friends, associates, and family across the world until the internet came. Now, hardly do people have to write letters to deliver in post offices to be received after weeks on the other side of the world. All you need is an email, and messages are received on a per second, nanosecond basis. The internet also greatly built e-commerce, which as of 2023 has generated business around the world of about $6 trillion. Many of our young content creators and entrepreneurs among the graduates and also the students today can testify to how much they have benefited from the internet. The downside, however, is that any country that is not well positioned for this innovation will have its wealth sucked out to countries at the leading edge because its citizens will only buy foreign goods and services. What that means is we have to be aware that the countries that are more adept at manipulating the internet and doing very well will be able to sell their goods much, much better than those who are not. Some have argued that we are in the 6th industrial revolution already. But the 4th industrial revolution is defined by the advent of artificial intelligence and machine deep learning. The world is more and more controlled by robots who think and work better than men could ever do. And now those robots are learning on their own, even things that human beings may not know. Will they take over the world? Are they going to take all the jobs in the world? How do today's graduates find jobs in the face of this great innovation and challenge? Many pundits have averred that new jobs will appear just as old ones fade away. True, but only the prepared and the brave, the innovative and the clever, will be able to plug into these innovative jobs of the future. And the 5th and 6th industrial revolution will have a lot to do with the continued grip of artificial intelligence and the interaction with human intelligence. It is now a fait accompli that a lot of our future will be determined by technology. No matter your course of study today, dear graduates and students, you don't want to be far away from technology. No matter what you chose to do with your future, you will need technology. Be a master of it and not a slave to technology. Alvin Toffler said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn that which they thought they knew. Those who are open-minded and have welded themselves to continuous eternal learning. Another saying goes, those whose rate of learning is less than or equal to the rate of change in the environment, anything, in fact, any entity whose rate of learning is less than or equal to the change in the environment or rate of change in the environment is actually gradually becoming a dinosaur. That is extinction. Recall the teachings of Charles Darwin, essentially that the strength of a species is down to its level to adapt, not to its size, not to its ferociousness, or how many other species in the ecosystem that is able to dominate, devour, or conquer. It's all about adaptability. Dear graduates and students, to use football parlance, we have been playing some aerial balls in this speech, but now let's put the ball on the ground and hope to score more goals. This is Nigeria. Nigeria is in Africa. Africa and Nigeria have their peculiar challenges. The developed nations of the world, who are our reference points, and we hope to achieve what they have. But they also have a lot to learn from us. We are never going to be them, and they will never be us too. Every nation is unique, and like I said before, there are so many benefits of being a Nigerian that you will never find living anywhere else. I'm sure many of the professors there have lived abroad, but they are back home. From my own experience, for example, the best place for anyone to be an entrepreneur is in the country where you were born and raised, where you have friends and acquaintances, for your business is hinged on who you know and who knows you. You can succeed elsewhere, but it will be harder. Now you are faced with the real world. As you proceed, dear graduates, make sure you are not seized with negativism. Make sure as much as possible you wear a smile so that the world will smile back at you. Make sure you develop a positive attitude because employers have learned to employ a good attitude and train you on the rest. Make sure you don't give off a negative and antagonistic vibe because this may not only push employers away from you, but it may also push away friends and even clients and customers, no matter how good what you sell is. Then I'm good. Don't go out there feeling the world is against you or that you are against the world. There is no need for that. Please note, dear graduate and student, that nobody owes you anything. Not even your parents, or your lecturers, or your university, or even Nigeria, or even the world. The less you think that the world owes you, rather than what you owe the world, the better for you. Many great people in this world are alive and departed. Never thought of what the world owes them. They never held a grudge against the world for infractions known and unknown. They rather immersed themselves into the ways of impacting on the world in a positive fashion. Those are the people whom you should emulate. The Holy Scriptures recommend that you should rather think about how you could be of great benefit to those below you who look up to you. Out there is an uber competitive world. Nobody waits for anyone. You must therefore be prayerful, be hardworking, be diligent, be faithful, and truthful. Don't set about trying to play tricks on your employer. All over the world and in every era, including this one and the ones to come, diligence, integrity, hard work always pays off. And for those who desire the freedom and prestige that entrepreneurship confers, please note that there is nothing wrong if you first find a place of mentorship. Let your desire for entrepreneurship not be born out of arrogance, like, oh, I cannot work for anybody, or I cannot be commanded by anybody. Recall that humility is a necessary ingredient in successful entrepreneurship. You have to be ready to be commanded by your clients. The customer is king, almost always. One of the biggest challenges facing entrepreneurship in Nigeria and elsewhere today is scalability. Are entrepreneurs able to leverage into the next phases of their expected development and become larger and more impactful on their environment? These are the questions that we must ask ourselves, so that our entrepreneurship drive does not come from a negative place and remain an escape route from unemployment. Our entrepreneurship must be value-adding. Another major crisis facing entrepreneurship in Nigeria today is the ability to get good staff and retain them. This is why those who preach that working for anyone is a waste of time, they are wrong. Every entrepreneur needs staff, as you will soon find out, for those of you who are in entrepreneurship. Especially as your one man, me, myself, and I, venture seeks to grow larger. You can't be everything. You can't be the salesman, the back-end person, the front-facing, the customer service, and the creator. You can't over a long period of time. Even in the face of artificial intelligence, you will find that you need staff, and you cannot do everything alone. We pray that you don't wait until that crossroads before seeing that diligently serving under a mentor as an employee is not really a bad thing. We also pray that as you sojourn in your entrepreneurship experience, you will find staff that will be honest and will persevere with you. Please note that the ability to retain staff is a function of your empathy and attitude to them. You must learn and gain emotional intelligence and understand that business frustrations must not be taken out on your staff. Unlike many businesses that we know, please pay your employees who depend solely on what you get at the end of the month. Remember that entrepreneurship is a place of privilege, and leaders, good leaders, eat last and never eat alone. Ladies and gentlemen, the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has embarked on very significant groundbreaking reforms, especially with the Naira, with fuel subsidies and with taxes. The fulcrum of these reforms is that the Nigerian economy is being repositioned and transformed in significant and fundamental manner. Many sectors are becoming more independent, sourcing raw materials locally rather than importing. This means that there are more openings for entrepreneurs locally, especially for people who are ready to add positively to the value chain. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria had reported just 2 weeks ago that the investment in manufacturing has increased by 32%. Our pharmaceutical sector, for example, has transformed, with the phenomenon of contract manufacturing, precluding local pharmacies from having to import everything from abroad, unlike before. Exports have spiked, leading to an all-time record of over $4 billion in Nigeria balance of trade for 3 quarters running. Even the petroleum and gas sectors have transformed, with the coming on board of Dangote Refinery, Port Harcourt Refinery, and other modular refineries. No longer is Nigeria simply exporting crude oil and gas abroad. There is now great pressure from local users who are refining, distributing locally, and exporting. Even the gas aspect is being captured with the CNG initiative. This is a new Nigeria. Are we seeing the opportunities? Dear graduates, don't just follow the naysaying crowd. Open your eyes and plug into the new prosperity that is locally grounded. In most progressive societies, barely 10% of residents could be regarded as financially liberated. Nigeria is not one of those, the most unequal countries in the world. We are aspirational people. Everybody believes that they can make it in Nigeria. We must maintain a positive outlook. Please do not be a victim before you understand the world. As I close, let me also remind today's graduates that the degree awarded by the Obafemi Awolowo University, as prestigious as it is not nearly enough in today's world. As said earlier, there is a need for continuous, constant, diversified, and eternal learning. And there are many learning sources, some of which issue certificates that you can show and present, highly recommended, and others which do not. Take advantage of them all. Don't just merely scroll all day on Instagram and X and wherever else, on TikTok and Snapchat and the whole gamut of social media platforms. Getting angry or having a good time without learning. Note that time is the most expensive commodity that everyone has. 24 hours a day is what everybody has. It's the most expensive commodity that everybody has. Don't spend that time being a victim. Don't just sit around while content creators make money with your time, with your very life, because you have chosen to become a mere statistic with which they are paid by YouTube, by Spotify, Apple Music, X, TikTok, Meta, and others. Plan to be a content creator too. You can. For the most valuable content of the future will not be music or pranks or comedy, but real products of deep thinking that can change and save lives. Take advantage of learning platforms like EDX, Future Learn, Udemy, Udacity, Coursera, Khan Academy, and the rest. Using them, you can obtain presentable and significant certificates from all of the world's best universities, from Oxford to Yale to Harvard, MIT, WIT, Imperial College, and I believe even the great OAU is on. A good number of you possess several of these certificates. I would have done show of hands if I had seen anybody wearing gown here, but I'll let that slide. How many of the students use any of those places I mentioned? Udemy, Coursera, Future Learn. If you haven't heard about it, go and find out about it. Even while you're in university, you can get certificates from 8 weeks courses, 10 weeks courses that will actually begin to open your world. Lastly, I want to appeal to today's graduates against two emotions. One of them is hubris, very closely related to pride and the inability to submit and learn. If you have the best first-class degree today or a wonderful 2-1, please be mindful of foolish pride and hubris. Lower the chips on your shoulders and learn. A great many ultra-intelligent young persons have fallen by the wayside, especially those who thought they knew it all. They say attitude, not mere aptitude, will take you to the top and ensure you remain there. To the other extreme, those who have not made wonderful grades, the beginning and not the end. You still have your life ahead of you, and to prove your mettle and where necessary to repair the inadequacies of the past. Never falter or fall. I would also want to mention the need for a strong alumni endowment for OAU Ife. The government is never going to be able to do everything for this university, this great university. Maintaining the amazing infrastructure, the architecture that I mentioned about. You need a much, much stronger alumni association to put the money down. The other time we saw in University of Ibadan, one singular medical graduate who now lives in the US gave them $1 million, cash down. That's about 1.5 billion today, one person. If you are graduating 10,000 people, by every means, not everybody will make it, but we pray that everybody should make it. Thank you very much. But out of that 10,000 people, there'll be these 1,000 people that will do incredibly well. There'll be these 100 people that will be financially successful and have money that they cannot even know what to do with. You want to be one of them in Jesus' name. I know you quickly say amen to that. But you see, but you have to remember where you're coming from. Don't say, I'm angry with that nonsense university. Everywhere is hard. And let me say this and correct something on my own, and this is not part of the speech, which I'll soon close. I just have one paragraph to go. I wish I had gone to University of Ife for my BSc. I didn't. However, I went to a university that was mentored by University of Ife. In fact, we owned the name of Bafemi Awolowo before we had to give it up. That's okay. That's one of my people there. Okay, Professor Ajishafe was mine. Yes. So that was Ondo State University, now called Ekiti State University. We were mentored. Most of our professors came from Ife, you know. But as poor as that university is, we have stood up as students, some of us, and put up a very great, endowment going on, because we know the state will never be able to. You know, compared to Ekiti State University, OAU is miles ahead. Your graduates are everywhere. Whether abroad or in Nigeria or in Africa, your graduates are... Look, let me tell you one thing. Look, you present a degree from OAU. In fact, a friend of mine who is an HR person told me that at some point in time, when they were under pressure and they needed to employ people, and they gave them 1 minute to decide on a CV. And on that CV, if you do that 1 minute you have, you look at the course of study, the class of degree, the age. But that because he went to Obafemi Awolowo University, anybody he sees OAU, he first set it aside. That I'm going to come to this, even if he made a third class, let me see how I can give them an opportunity. However, honestly, by now, we should be hearing about endowment funds that are at the level of Harvard University or something close. Harvard is sitting on billions, almost $1 trillion, just because people went to that university and they are out there today and they remember that, yes, even the toughness of this university is part of what made me. I've been to Harvard. I've been to Harvard myself. And the truth is, look, there's nowhere that's perfect. My first time in Harvard, the lecturer, I could have taken over from her and said, look, madam, you don't know what you're talking about. But that was Harvard. So don't say, I hate that university. Look, a lot of our people. So you know what? The challenge is to the university management to go after those people. Don't leave alumni to alumni associations alone. Give them a new dream. Challenge them. Continue to expand and give them big dreams to worry about. Like that man, Dr. What's his name in University of Ibadan. One person, $1 million. Cash money, 1.6 billion naira. If you have 10 of those, that's 16 billion naira. That will transform a university. On this note, I wish you all well in your future endeavors, students and graduates. I wish you great success. I wish you all the financial resources you want to have in the world. I wish you an outstanding era. May the class of 2024 be truly transformational of Nigeria and the world, and for Great Ife. God bless the class of 2024. God bless Great Ife. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
We can do much better for him. Thank you very much. Let's be seated. When Dr. Tope Fasua was delivering the lecture, I was talking to somebody sitting by my side. I look at him, I said, in stature, it looks like DVC Research, Innovation and Development. In complexion, it looks like the wife of the Vice Chancellor. In mental sagacity, is a fantastic advertisement of academic excellence of OAU. And I look at him again, I said, you know, OAU products, whether University of Ife or Bafimalo University, Ile-Ife products, we are comfortably proud because we know what we carry. If you are a graduate of this place, put your hands together for yourselves. For the sake of this lecture, whether you are a council member or not, you are a graduate of OAU. Members of council or internal member of council, you are a graduate of OAU. Thank you very much. We are very much proud of ourselves, proud of our products, proud of our pedigree, proud of everything that has to do with Obafemi Awolowo University. I don't know, just for 3-5 minutes, if you have question, comments, or observation, I'm going to give room for just 2 personalities, 2 people, 2 persons. 1. Thank you very much, my dean. None. Thank you very much. I would like to yesterday, for those of us who are here for the Bulgarian dance, it was very colorful performance by the students of the Dramatic Art Department. In the absence of questions or comments or observation concerning the lecture, permit me to call on Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of the Republic of Bulgaria, His Excellency Yanko Yodanov, to please come forward just for 2-3 minutes. Your Excellency, please come forward. If you know him, anytime he's coming to you, that's the way he dresses.
Good afternoon, everyone. Let me first of all associate myself with the established protocol, but also emphasize the presence of the Vice President of Nigeria, ably represented by his Special Advisor on Economic Affairs in the Office of the Vice President. Of course, I cannot but emphasize the presence and the benevolent invitation from the Vice Chancellor, Professor Simon Bamire. Of course, I would definitely associate myself with all the members, professors, and staff members of the Obafemi Awolowo University. You know, this is my 4th time in Ile-Ife and 4th time in Obafemi Awolowo. And one thing never stops giving me surprises is the ability of the Vice Chancellor to always test my diplomatic capacities and abilities to deliver speeches, especially when I'm not warned in advance that I'll give one. But this is the ability I've acquired in my own university, Sofia University of Bulgaria, and testifies how important the ability you acquire during your studentship would be in your future professional life. Let me tell you that the time difference between now and the moment when I was at my own convocation is just 13 years. And you know, usually the image of an ambassador is an old guy who speaks with a kind of 40 years of lifetime experience. My experience is just 13 years, 4 out of them is as the ambassador of Bulgaria to Nigeria, which is the highest honor any career diplomat can be conferred to represent their own countries to another friendly nation. But it's a double honor to represent Bulgaria to Nigeria. And to see that just yesterday, a Bulgarian folklore dance performance was able to gather so many attention interests from you. This is a high honor, and I am very thankful to the leadership of Obafemi Awolowo University, to one very important person who made this all happen, Professor Adisa Ogunfolakan, and all his associates and friends and everybody. If I was advised to keep it short, that's why I'll just say that when you see me, you can see yourself in 13 years. Not in 20, not in 25, not in 40, but in just 13 or even less year. The important is what has been said actually by His Excellency the Vice President. Dare to make it perfect. Dare to work hard, and dare to be yourself in advancing your own dreams. This is your responsibility. The world is not having this responsibility for you. You are the ones who must advance, and by advancing yourself, try your best to advance your nation, your great nation that is a great friend of Bulgaria. And I am really very proud that so many people here tonight will hear that Bulgaria and Nigeria has just celebrated the 60th anniversary of international bilateral relationship. It's an important thing, and I'm very proud, as I said, that I am amongst one of the most dynamic academic community I've ever seen in Nigeria, in Africa, and in the world. Thank you very much.
Yes, I call on the Chairman, Ceremonials Committee of the University, Professor Solomon Adikola.
Thank you, everyone. Standing on the existing protocol, I want to appreciate the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria for giving this very thoughtful lecture for this 48th convocation ceremony. We want to appreciate the Vice President because we contacted him and he agreed to do this, though not here presently, but ably represented by the lecturer that spoke to us today. So we want to appreciate all the efforts the federal government has been giving to the university. I want to say that the topic issues was well taught, from campus to career, navigating life's realities, embracing entrepreneurship in a changing world. And we've heard from the guest lecturer today what the future looks like for every one of us, either students or we are graduates. The future is good, and we should know how to work with it. So we want to appreciate the Vice President, sir, and also to seek permission that you allow us to put this on the university website so that people can have access to it after this, so that at least people that are interested can download and read through. Like I said, it's going to be there for a long time. People will continue to benefit from what you've given to us today. So on behalf of the university, the whole university community and the council, we want to say a big thank you. And as we go back, we pray for journey mercies for you, that you arrive there safely and you're going to get back to destination safely. And thank you everyone for coming. Another year is next year, and we will look for another very thoughtful and eventful convocation as we look at 49th convocation next year. So thank you everyone.
Unto whom much is given, much is expected. There are ways we show appreciation in our culture and tradition. I want to call on the Vice Chancellor to please step forward. And I call on Richard Adewumi to please come forward and give this to the Vice Chancellor for the presentation to the Convocation Lecturer. Please come forward, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much. It's actually in appreciation of your coming. As an alumnus of this great institution, though representing the Vice President, we take you as the Vice President today because you are here with us. So we really want to appreciate you, particularly thought-provoking message that you have for our graduates. We want to wish you all the best. We thank you because we are really proud of you. You've been doing a lot. We are still relying on you, even based on what you said, that we should tap into alumni. And since you are one, you are very close to the seat of government. So I'm very happy that we're able to make it here today. Thank you very much. It's just a token for you. Thank you. Yeah. On behalf of the Council, Senate, Ceremonial Committee, all staff and students of this great institution, we are just giving this also to the Vice President of this great nation for finding it, giving us a space to be here for this great lecture. We really appreciate his lecture, and we want you to thank him for us. We really appreciate this. It's also a token.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Please. Your Excellency, please. Thank you very much. Please, as they are going back to their seats, shall we please stand for the anthems? We start with the Great Fair anthem, then Bulgarian anthem, then Nigerian anthem. We are only one great affair in the universe. Another great affair is a counterfeit great. The Bulgarian anthem. Don't sing it, just listen. Nigerian anthem.
The country motherland, our flag shall be a symbol. A banner without shame. Oh, God.